Okay, so can anyone give a basic intro? What did we learn yesterday? Any special commands that we learned? What is create element? Nobody's ready to repeat. Okay. Okay, what did we learn? Just you can give a basic intro. What did we learn yesterday? No need to explain the complete detail, just a basic of it. Okay, so basically what we did yesterday was we studied about various concepts of parent and child relationship. So how a parent child relationship works in this case. So we had a UL. So UL will be a parent of LI, and LI will have a parent which is UL. So this is something which is child parent relationship, and we studied about it. And through JS we created an HTML. We created one more LI element using this command, and we replaced a heading h5 tag from a heading using this, using replace child method, and using query selector we selected that particular element. So this was the basic which we did yesterday. So what I'll do is I'll take this code, and if you guys have missed yesterday's class, this is the important code which was taught. So here what I've done is, using create element, I've created an li, and I've given a class name to it. This is not a compulsory method, but if you have to add a specific class, if you have created using HTML, so you can do that. And using const, we have used const text element to create a text node. So we use this for creating a specific text using a specific text element. And using li.append function, I have added that node to, sorry, I've added that node to the list, and then replaced it using append child method. I have added it there. Okay, so this was the basic what we studied yesterday. So if you guys have doubt in this, let me know. I'll explain this again. How did we add this HTML, or how did we create this in JS? No doubts. If you guys have studied or just visited the basics of it, you would have known this. Okay. Okay, so moving on. Yesterday we studied how to do this, and now what we'll do today is we'll learn how to delete a specific element. So as soon as I do this, I'll just show you the HTML page for it. So yes, you can see one more element has been created using this app.js, and you can see the text present here is one more element, and because of which a specific element, one li element was created. Okay, so anyone, what are the can anyone explain the full form of CRUD?
Create, read, update, delete.
Yes,
Current.
okay. Yes, always
So
remember this.
create, read, update and delete.
Yes, always remember this. Any language you study, any language you study, even during a hackathon, also if you are studying anything, always remember these four operations. So we have done create, we have done read, we have done read automatically. We know query selector is used for reading, and update and delete. Update, I have taught you how to replace a specific element, so you can do that using a replace function. And now we'll learn delete. So is that clear? Always remember these four are the main aspects. So these four will be always required. So whenever you are studying JS, always remember these four. Okay, so we'll see how to remove an element. Okay, so how to get a specific element, anyone? What methods do we use for getting a particular element if you have to remove a particular element? Okay, that's right. Okay, so how to remove a specific element, you can try doing is you can use remove function. Okay, similarly like any language you have a remove function. Here also we have a remove function, so we use a remove function here also. So first we have to get that particular element. So what we'll do is we have an li already, but we have to create a new element so that we'll remove it. We'll do is we'll create another element list, and we'll get an li. We'll get all the li and then we'll delete each of them. Okay, so anyone, what's the difference between query selector and query selector all?
Query selector selects the first class or element, and all will select all the classes.
That's correct. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll select all of them, so that if you have to delete a specific one, we can do it through this variable. Okay, so when we have to remove it, we have to use lis dot uh, lis dot then you have to select a particular index, so whichever index you have to delete. So let's delete whatever we have created. So what did we create? We create another element, one more element. What's the index for this? Anyone, what's the index for this element? Index
5.
5. Great,
5.
great. So lis dot 5 dot remove, so you will get an option directly here to remove it. Okay, and just put brackets next to it. Every time you have a function, you have to just put brackets, and see, it goes away. So it's really easy to delete element, but to create it requires a lot of struggle. Okay, it's always easy to delete elements. Okay, moving on. Then if you have to remove elements from the parent element, so like if you have selected a ul, here we have ul and li. So if you have to delete element from ul using a ul or something like that, from ul you can delete also element same like. I'll show you how to delete it with ul. So you need to document dot query selector, and we'll select the ul, because ul is only one, so you don't have to do query selector all. Okay, so in that case you can only do ul. You can use ul dot collections or ul normal also. Difference between them is nothing more. You can just to take any of them, but it's better to put ul dot collection if possible in this case. Okay, and then here what you have to do is list dot remove child. Okay, remove child. So here the difference is between remove and remove child is differences, because here we are using remove child. So what happens is it has to go through li and delete element from there. So now we have deleted the fifth element, so we'll delete some other element. We'll delete the first element. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do 0, and now you can see this isn't deleted. Let me see what's wrong in console. Okay, so remove child is undefined element. Okay, wait a second. Oh, okay, I have to specify that particular element inside bracket list. What I'll do is lis, and I'll take that particular element. So I'll take 1, I'll take 0. So you have to specify that in bracket. I forgot that because there are so many functions in JavaScript. Okay, so in normally if you have to delete a particular element using an li, you can do it through calling query selector all, and it selects all the elements for li, and then you can call a specific index. You have to delete one, you can use 1, 2, 3, any of that. And if you have to delete using ul or parent element, you have to use remove child method. Okay, and here also you can delete it in the same way. Okay, any doubts up till now? Create, read, update, delete. Anyone, if you want to repeat any of these 4 steps, these are really important in terms of programming. Okay, in terms of JS, you'll use these 4 only when you are doing JS most of the time. So if you want to repeat any of these 4, just let me know, I'll repeat that. Okay, so we'll see if you have to add or remove a particular class from a particular element. So you can even do remove class and attribute. So we'll see class and attributes. So if you have to add a class or attribute from a specific element, you can do that too. So to do that, what we can do is we'll take any specific we'll take a specific element. We'll take the first list, we'll take the first li. Okay, and in the first li we'll do document dot query selector, and here we'll specify li dot first child. Okay, so if you have to get the first child, you can do li also. Normally it will take the first child, but if you want to be more specific, just add colon and first child so you don't miss anything. Okay, so just follow this specific this. If you have to do second, you just change it to second or third, any of that specific thing. Okay, so yes, any doubts? Yes, just feel free to pause me and ask. Okay, if you have doubts in create, read, update, delete also, no worries. So here I have selected a particular element, and see if I have to console log, I'll show console log this and show you what will be the output here. So console log first link, first li, and you can see what will be the output for this. Okay. So you can see yes, see this li is enabled. You can see this li is there, and there's a text named as greetings here. So this is the first li. Okay, any doubts up till now? Any issues? Just feel free to ask me or pause me if you have. Okay, so this is li, and if you have to access, if we add something inside this li, and suppose we'll add a class inside this. Okay, so inside this li, we currently have only a single class named as collection item everywhere. So what we'll do is we'll add one more class and see the output. Okay, so how to add a specific class in li? Anyone? I taught this, how to add a class.
Dot class name.
Okay, dot class name. Okay, so I'll add a class named as test. Okay, so yes, you have added a specific class inside it, and now if we console log it, class name, sorry. Okay, so now you can see it has two classes, one class. Okay, it has really replaced the previous class. Okay, if you have to add, see now if I am adding this class, it will replace the previous class. So this is the disadvantage of JS, that if you assign one more class to it and print it, so what it does is it replaces that previous class. And if you now try to append this thing into your browser, what will happen is this collection item will go away and here test item will be present. So to keep both of these classes together, you have to follow certain mechanism, which I'll teach you how to do it. So now as soon as we have created a specific class, so what we'll do is what we have to do is, if we have to add a particular element to an existing class, what we have to do is we have to use class list, and we have to do add. Okay, and through this add method you can add a specific class here. Okay, so now if you add test here, it won't create an issue and you don't have to follow this instead. Okay, so now if you add test, it gets added here. Okay, is this clear? Is this what I have explained? Is there any doubts with this? Just let me know, I'll explain this again. Okay, any doubts with this? How I added a li item? If you do this method, it won't get added.
Sir, can you explain it again?
This one only. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what we did was we first used const first li, and through the first li, using a query selector, I've selected the first element. As we have deleted the hello item, so we'll have greetings by default as the first element here. And from that, if I do li first li dot class name, and we put test, what happens is if you do this, what happens is it will show only one class at a time. It won't add a class to an existing item. So what happens is when you have to enable a dark mode, okay, and you want to put up another, or you want to add one more class to in this existing thing. So like I want my color to get, I want my this font to get black. So if I add another class here named as black text, so what happens in dark mode, this text becomes white or something like that if you have to change the color for it. So in dark mode I'll make this color red. So in dark mode I'll add another class named as test, and in CSS file I'll create that dot test file. Okay, in using this CSS, suppose I have created the CSS, in this I'll create dot test and I'll add some color to this. Okay, so I'll add this color becomes red. In these cases, if you have to follow, if you have to do something like that, in these cases we use something like this, and on clicking off the button we'll run this particular function. Okay, so in that case these are really important, and you will replace, and using class list, what happens with class list, what does it shows all the classes present in that particular element. So I'll just remove this and show you. If you use dot class list here also, I'll just show, if you do class list here, what it will show, it will show all the list, all the classes present. So you have two classes now, one named as collection item and one named as test. So through class list you add a particular element, and similarly if you have to remove it, what we do is first li dot class list dot remove, and here you can specify whatever you have to remove. So we will remove test again, as we have added it for testing purposes. Okay, so now test gets removed from here. So okay, now is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, this is really important. So if you still have anyone, if you want me to repeat again, I'll do it, because this is really handy when you work dark mode or something like that using HTML CSS. Okay, just what is the use of having two classes for the same element? Okay, so in some cases, you can have the use of two classes, like on clicking of button if you have to do specific function. So how will you do it? Like on clicking of a button in tic-tac-toe, using tic-tac-toe, if you have to make X on clicking of this element in a particular blank space, if you click there, you should show X, and as soon as three X's are present, you have to show line over them. So as soon as the last element is X, you have to draw a line on them. No, so to do that you have to use something like this, and as soon as you add something like as soon as these three elements are added together, you add something like this, that three lines are together, and I'll draw a cross over each square box. So I'll just show you through Excalidraw, and you will be able to understand that better. Okay, so I'll explain. So if you have to take a pencil, okay, so if you have to play X and 0, in this case if you make 0 0 and 0, in this case you will add one more element, so that all the diagonal elements should be crossed by default. If every box in the corner should be X, so that it becomes a complete line. So in these cases you will have to use something like this to add a specific class there. You can't by default, you can't by beforehand you can add a specific class named as X, and so every time you add any element, it will be automatically X, it will cut that particular element. So to do such kind of things, you will always require JS, and you can't do it with normal HTML and CSS. So to do these things you require JS. Okay, so we'll have a demo class tomorrow, like on Sunday, to explain real life examples with it. So don't worry, we'll cover that aspects there, so you'll be able to understand that better. Okay, great. Okay, I think till here everything is clear, so we'll move on to another aspect. So any doubts if you have still, you can just stop me and I'll explain that part again. Okay, so if you have to add, in this case we have learned how to modify classes. We can also add attributes. So in case of an attribute, suppose if you have to add an attribute also, so what we'll do is on clicking of a specific list, if you want to add something like you have to modify some attribute, like what are the attributes present in a list, we'll just see once. And so we have a class, we only have a class, so what we'll do is we'll add some aspect and we'll modify that. So do we have an href? Okay, we'll add one href. Okay, we'll add some link and then we'll modify that link. Okay, so we'll do is when href, and we'll put hash here and hello. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll modify this href and redirect it to google.com or something like that. Okay, and we'll use a query selector. If you use a query selector, we have to add some class to it, so we'll add a link. Okay, link. Okay, do give proper names. Here I am just using it for demo purposes, so don't keep names like this whenever you're studying. Okay, so where I'll create something as named as link, where link is equals to document dot query selector, and we'll get that particular element href. Okay, so what's the class present there? So class present there is link. Okay, so we'll use dot link. Okay, this is clear. You can use query selector anywhere. You don't have to see it. It works with any element, so it's always better to use query selector everywhere, and gives you variety of options, so you don't have to worry. Okay, I'll use a value named as a val, and I'll console log this var val, and I'll console log val. Okay. Console.log value. Okay, so if you have to check a specific attribute, you can do is link dot get attributes, and you can get the attributes for that particular element. So if you have to get what's present in a specific attribute, you can do is dot href, and if you have to get all the attributes, you can just do get attributes without any colon. So I'll show both of them. So here's the link, and see there's no attribute. The attribute present there is hash, so it shows an hash here. If you put google.com, it will show whatever you put up in this HTML. So if you have to redirect to some place, if you have to change the URL, you can do it through here. So we'll learn that how to change that particular attribute. So now we'll change this attribute. Okay, so val link dot set attribute. Okay, through set attribute, what you have to do is you have to specify for what function you are changing that attribute. So we are modifying attribute for an href, and what we'll do is we'll change it to google.com. So we have to do https, and you can specify www.com, or you can leave that just on your wish, but do specify https. Okay, it won't consider that as a link. Okay, so as soon as we do this, it will redirect it to a link now. So if I click here, so now it goes to google.com. So are you clear? Is this clear? Is there any doubts with this? How did I convert this to this? How did we specifically print a value, or how did we change it? So use a set attribute to specifically set a specific attribute for a specific element. If you have an image also, you can change the image attribute through this. Okay, so using functions, on clicking of a button, you can change the links present on a specific website. So that's really helpful in such cases when, suppose if you are signing up as a admin and you want to show privacy conditions to them and not to you, so in that cases you can change the link to something else or something depending on the type of customer. So in those cases you have to modify links like this. So any doubts, how did we change set attribute, or how did we use get attribute and something like that? Okay, and if you have to check attribute also, you can do is link dot has attribute, and you can check whatever attribute is present there. So whatever attribute is present on a specific element, so you have to check what attribute is present in, suppose if I'll add some attribute here. Okay, I'll add one more attribute. Okay, any attribute is present in a link target. Okay, so I'll set it as score blank. Okay, what's the use of this? Anyone?
It will open the link in the new tab.
Great. Always you guys remember this. Okay, great. So it opens up in another link. So if you have to get attribute for a specific element, you can do that using this. You will just specify for what element you have to get an attribute. So we'll do target, and you can get undefined. Wait a second. We'll set this to blank. Let me check if this works. Let me check. Should work with has attribute. It should. Let me check href if it shows. Define. It shows undefined. Okay, it shows undefined cause we have set an attribute above and we are calling val. Okay, let me change this to val and try again. Yeah, so it shows that some attribute has been set there. If some attribute isn't set there, it will show false. Okay, so if you have to check if an href attribute is there or not, if a target attribute is there or not, you can check it through this and it will show if it's present or not. In case if it's present, it will show true. In case if it's false, it won't show there. Okay, so in these cases you can check something like that. If I'll check for something like if I'll remove target from here and check, it will show it as false. So I'll do this, I'll check target now, it will show false. So this is basically used when you have to check if a specific attribute is present or not. Okay, this won't be much used, and if same thing, if you have to remove an attribute, you can use dot remove attribute and you can remove that particular attribute. Okay, so I'll show you. I have kept this as blank now, and now if I remove this particular attribute, it won't redirect to a new page, it will redirect here only. So that's how these functions work. So if you have to add or remove any particular attribute, if you do something like that, so in these cases these main functions are used: get attribute, set and remove. Okay, any doubts with these? These whatever I have taught from yesterday to today, remove, update, CRUD, all these are CRUD operations and they are really useful when you are making any application. So this will be used everywhere, sorry. Okay, no doubts then? Okay, so is Rudra anything?
I think they are understanding or not, I doubt,
Yes,
because nobody is replying.
yes, understood. Okay.
See, guys, I think if you see logically, see, with only 2 to 3, like 4 lines, we have created some HTML elements.
Yes.
Do you notice? Because previously, when you write HTML, you have to write like image, source, href, closing braces, opening braces. But see, we don't have to do these things. We have to just write document.query selector or create elements, set attribute, set class. It just did it will create a HTML. I think it's very easy. Do you agree or not?
With normal HTML, what we have done previously was we just used to create HTML like this and we were happy with it. But JS, it's little bit big, but yes, it's most useful than HTML. Okay, so as you move on, you will be able to understand that having a static site doesn't make a user attractive. User won't be attractive to a static site. You have seen there are many static sites present on internet. Nobody is happy with static sites. Who loves static sites? Anyone who loves static site, let me know. I'll break your notion.
Does anybody understand what is static website and what is dynamic website?
Yes, just that's more important.
Just say something like a yes
just
or
try.
no,
Anyone who knows static or dynamic website. If you don't
and just
know,
give one example also.
yeah.
Nobody? Are you guys
Sir,
there or?
static means fixed
Yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
Lisa. Yeah.
and dynamic means capable of change or something like.
Yeah. Okay, kind of right. Yes, no actions are present in static sites. There can be
Ex-
actions, but won't go to.
Can you give some example of static sites?
Yes, any
Have you?
example?
Yeah.
The one whose source code can be changed.
Okay, just give me an example of a dynamic website. I think everybody has interacted with dynamic website.
Yes, everywhere you see is
All
dynamic.
the major websites are dynamic. Facebook, LinkedIn, everything. Zomato,
Yeah,
Swiggy, all the websites.
Great, great. So dynamic websites are one that can be interacted. Static one,
yeah,
anyone. Now
yeah.
static sites.
If you see, like, if you add some post
So
in Facebook,
documentation.
Very good, very
what?
good. Documentation
Yeah,
of any site, that's correct.
yeah, yeah.
So if you see any documentation anywhere, whenever you see that, that's most of
See,
it.
see. Now his browser is also updating. See, it's
Yes,
automatic.
yes, this
It
news
is
feed.
dynamic.
So static website will basically display the same content for every user.
Yes, static site displays the same content anywhere you go. So MKDocs, this is some website which is specifically for documentation, and this website remains same because the commands always remain same. They won't change anytime. So that's why these sites always remain the same. They won't have anything dynamic. So you will have links there. You can redirect to other links, but the site doesn't have any action. So if you fill up a contact form here or something like that, it won't redirect to any page, or it won't take your data. Static sites are very safe to interact. They won't take your data, they won't steal anything because they don't require data at that most. Okay, so those sites which have sign in, login, anything like that, like LinkedIn, Facebook, any social media, WhatsApp, all of these take your data. They might not use it for wrong purposes, but they store your data. But with static sites, they don't require any data. They'll just, you can just refer to these sites anytime. They won't extract any of your data. So these are safe to use. Now is that clear? Is static and dynamic clear? Okay, can anyone give one more example then for a static site other than this?
Fonts.
Fonts, yes, that's great. Okay, fonts. Whatever sites you have created previously, all are static. Okay, so whatever we have learned till now, everything that we have studied is static. Okay, all the sites that we studied till now are static. We haven't created even a single dynamic website. So that's a disadvantage. But we'll learn as we are learning JS. Okay, anyone, what's the difference between a dynamic site and a responsive site?
Come on, guys. Responsive we have learned in Bootstrap.
Yes, yes. This is a very good question. Sirka is able to answer it. Now I've explained
I'm
both
gi-
of them.
I'm giving you hints also. Just say something. Nobody?
Rima, responsive sites can adjust the content according to screen. That's correct. Okay. Yes, okay. So they are completely different terms. All these terms that we have studied are really different. Okay. So do remember whatever we are studying. These might have a different words might have a different meaning. So remember all the technical terms too. So if they are asking something in an interview, or if we are using this in real life, do remember whatever we have taught. Okay. And keep revising HTML. Don't forget that. Okay. As you're studying JS. Okay. Okay, we have already created a button. Okay, what we will do is, what happens generally is whenever you are studying JS, we always have actions on clicking of a button or something like that. To do that, what you have to do is you have to either click on click button or something like that. You have to create an on click button or something like that. But in many cases, there's no option of on click, or there's no attribute named as on click in many places. Like something in LI, there's no on click method or something like that. In those cases, we have to do it through JS. We have to change colors, or if we have to modify something, we will do it through JS. So I'll teach you how to write a code in JS, and using that JS command, we can do specific function, or we'll print something in console or something like that. Okay, so simple button. Okay, so what we'll do to select that button now, if you have to get that button, what's the command? how to select this button. If I have to get the button, what we do to select a particular button?
Get
First,
element by class name.
yes,
Document dot place. Get
yeah, but
by
always,
class.
what's the recommended method? That class name is perfectly fine, but what's the recommended method?
Query selector.
Yes. Always try using query selector. Okay, so that's easier to use and it has more dynamic availability. So you have query selector at all, query selector. So if you get confused anywhere, you can directly use query selector and then think of whatever class is present there. Okay, so here I've simply simply called a specific class. Now what I'll do is I'll add a event listener. And what's an event listener? Anyone, what's an event listener? We haven't studied it, but I have explained the basics of it. Anyone, what's event listener? Just by name, you can try guessing what it should do. What it would do by default. Event listeners. No idea then?
So it adds an event to the element.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, so whatever you have to do, if you have to click a button and you have to perform some function, to do such kind of thing, you would require an event listener. Okay, so in these cases you will always require an event listener. So you normally use add event listener, and you don't have to remember these guys. Don't worry, you don't have to remember such big codes. As you start writing JS, you will gradually learn. You will gradually understand this. So don't have to remember these concepts by heart. And there's always documentation present, so you can refer to that. Okay, here you can write whatever function you have to do. So like if you have to do something on clicking of that particular thing, so we'll write click. If you have to do hover, you will write hover. If you have to do something on visited, you can do visited. Any of that, everything on click, on selected or something like that, every of the parameter that's present there can be written here. Okay, so here we'll do on click, and then whatever function is present. So we have an on click function, so you can write on click. Okay, so that would be tagged to an on click function. Okay, is it clear? This is just calling that specific event listener, and we will perform that particular action on it. Okay, so instead of on click, here we'll write a specific function, and I'll show you how to do that particular function. Okay, on clicking on this, I'll just display something like console.log, and we'll see if it's working first. Okay, so whenever you have to check something if it's working or not, we'll just type out console.log anything, and you can check if it's working or not. Okay, so if I console.log, it shows that add event listener of null at something. Okay, it shows some error. Okay, we'll see what is wrong. Okay, so what happens, what is the error? Anyone, if anyone can guess, with functions there's a basic error which is present. Okay, there's a very basic error.
Just try.
Try. Okay,
Later we can give you gifts.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a very basic error. I'll point out also where the error is. It's present somewhere in this block. Okay, so you can guess what it should be. Anyone? Why it's giving an error?
Yeah, just try. It may be very much.
It's very useful when you
Yeah.
are doing work in production. Okay, this happens a lot when you are writing functions. If you have no idea, then you can write no in chat. That's not a problem. But if you have an idea, just try speaking.
See, most of the error you can get it from console.log, means that this source
Yes, you can.
developer tool. Yeah. If you click, you can get what is that issue.
Yes, you can. If you have issues, if you don't get the specific meaning of it, see, I
Just
have
click here.
displayed at what specific line it shows an error. So it shows something that add event listener function dot something. So it shows an error starting from here till here. Okay, So what happens whenever you are using a function is you have to use something called as an E here. What E stands for, anyone?
Event.
Not exactly. Okay. Okay, if you hover over it, it is declared as an event. Okay, so what it does is, if you have if you have to specifically, like if you have to if you are using specific functions and you face an error or something like that, okay, so you have to stop the basic function of an event. So like by default, if this button is having some function named as href or something, like on clicking of this function there was an event already defined, like I am on clicking of this button, I have defined that this heading should change. Okay, and if I write a function in JS along with this same thing, so what happens is these both interact together and it gives an error. Okay, so you can do same things at same function in same two types of function at the same time. So it prevents such kind of things. To avoid that kind of things, you have to define a function dot e, and here we'll use e dot prevent default. So what it does is it will stop if you have multiple functions going on together. If you have two functions, here also you have written on click and you have defined a function, and here also through JS also you are defining something. So what happens, two functions are running simultaneously. In these case it requires that you should only use a specific function at a particular time. So to avoid these kind of errors, there's something called as e dot prevent default, and it will prevent any type of errors by default, or any type of events which are going other than this. Okay, so now if I run this on console, I think it should not give an error. Okay, so yes, it doesn't give an error. Now if I click hello world, it displays hello world by default. Okay, so this is a basic problem that might occur. Okay, so always keep this is not compulsory, this is not compulsory. By default, if you use normal function also, it won't give an error, but in some cases it might happen that there might be many other functions running on side by side. So to avoid that, you have to use e dot prevent default, and that function is event. Okay, so this is just a parameter which is present. You can avoid this also if you want, but try keeping, in many cases try keeping this is really essential when you're using a specific function. Okay, any doubts up till now? Feel free to pause me or stop me if you have doubts with this. Okay, similarly, if you want to do the same thing using an on click function or something like that, you can, instead of writing this in a specific function, you can do is you can delete this and name a function, like we'll name this as an on click, and we'll create a function down there. Okay, so we'll create a function on click and we'll define a function here. Okay, okay, and here we'll write that prefix function. Okay, I'll remove the function parenthesis so it won't give an error. Okay, so you can do something like this also. So it's better to create functions so that you will be clear what is happening at a particular line, and I think this will work the same way. So if you click hello world, it shows e is not defined. Okay, so here also if to define e, so you can define e, and now it won't give an error. Yes, see, so it's always better to define this kind of thing, and if you have an error or something like that, you can do e dot error and it shows the error also. If you have an error something like that, you can console log e and it shows a particular error also. So when you are facing issues that why this function is not working, you can console log e and it shows that where that specific error will be. Okay, and it shows at where and at which point in an event it's giving an error. Okay, so this is really important, and if you have to change something, if you have to show an id on clicking of something, you can, I'll just give a basic info, like I'll do something basic here. I'll show you how to do that. So we'll create something named as, we have created val already, no? So we'll use val, and what we'll do is we'll get e dot target. Okay, so what it will do is I'll console log as soon as this is done, console log val. So anyone, what will be the output here as is an event e dot target, what it should do? I don't. You guys might not know, but you can try guessing what it should display. On clicking of target. Yes.
Underscore blank.
No, it doesn't. Okay, that's if it's a link, then it should. If it's a link like this, if I've used a link, then it should show that. Okay, so I'll show what happens if you console log e just by default. So it shows an event, and then you can guess what it should show. Okay, so proton object console.log. Okay, so whenever you click that particular button, it shows mouse event is trusted, and you can see all these parameters are present. So you can see what is that bubbles means if you click on this, you see something animation, something like that. In case of that, you can enable disable that, and you get a long big array of events that present. So you can even check what was the specific event performed, what's the screen place at what point it is present, and something like that. All these details can be present. What happens if you do e.target? So what happens with e.target? So I'll just show you. If you do e.target, it shows that what's that particular button and the code for that particular button. So it shows at what particular button this event is performed on. So this is the target button. So did anyone answer that? Button element. Great. Okay, so whatever place this event is going on, it shows that button. Okay, so if you change it to href, it will show href there. So this is basically E. It's really helpful whenever you're using whenever you are working with commands. So this might be really helpful, and it shows that if you have multiple functions and events going on simultaneously, then you have to check events like this by e.target or something like that. Okay, then we'll see. You can even check if you have to check ID for that particular element. You can do that using val is equals to e dot class name, and you can check the class name for it. If you have to check the ID, you can do class ID. Anything, if you have to check class name, it will show the class name. So if we don't have any class name there, I think, yeah, so it shows the class name also. If you have an ID on a button, it shows ID. So on clicking on a button, you can check on events. You can check whatever event is going on at that particular moment. So this is really helpful. It shows all the characteristics of an event. So you can do class name, class list, anything if you have to do. So this is the basic on click. You have learned how to embed a function using complete.js. You can do even on click from here and write the function there. If you can also write on click here and call a function there, but it's always convenient if you're writing it in JS. That's also fine. Okay, more the JS code, it will be better because less load on HTML, less it will be easier for the HTML page to load. Okay, so what loads first? First HTML page gets loaded, then CSS gets loaded, then JS gets loaded. So initially when the user goes to a website, it's always better so that less number of HTML content is there, so he'll just see the structure and he won't click directly on a link. He'll wait till the complete website is loaded and then he'll click on that particular link. So that's why it's always convenient to put less amount of code in HTML and more on CSS or JS, any aspect. Okay, also minimize CSS, though that would be better if it's possible. Okay, any doubts in this concept, whatever I've taught? E.value, E.class name. If you have ID also, you can do same thing, E.id, and you can check that event out. Okay, this is how you can call functions on clicking or hovering. Also you can do hover and something like that, and you can define your custom function here. Okay, any doubts with this? Any doubts?
No doubts? Great. I think Anush, you are a good mentor.
No, nothing like that. You should be clear with the concept. Tomorrow on Sunday we'll have a revision class, and in Saturday we might have a CSS revision. If I'm free, I'll put that up in group. And if you guys have missed CSS classes, you can come for the CSS revision too, because JS will require CSS. That's why I'm having it on Saturday.
Yeah. Quick, like a quick update. Like
Nothing. I'll
you
not go
guys,
in details, so don't worry.
yeah. But you guys want classes on Saturday or Sunday or both? Just again, just a reminder. Uh, Sunday. Okay. So Sunday at 7:30 or 7 or 6:30.
Sunday anytime, everybody will be free, na, I think.
So no. Just I'm asking, like, if you want like one class, 1 hour class or 2 hour, it depends upon you. Or 30